Story 1. My mill wanted to move in forever visa rejection. Saved my marriage. Our phone call went well for like the first 2 minutes when I expressed how sorry I was that she wouldn't be able to come, and the visa officers should have been more considerate. It went downhill soon after. She said that this probably means she'll never be able to visit Canada, and a few weeks a year isn't enough, that my parents have gotten to be close to us for 2 years. Now it should be their right. And asked if my husband called his uncle about a job in the UAE, since he wasn't answering her texts. I said I don't know, but it won't work anyway. We live in Canada. We've started a family here. We have a support system here. My husband has a great career here, but we will definitely have as many vacations together as possible, so she could spend time with my son. She then went on about how my Sil, her daughter, has been living with her in-laws since she got married, how bad her mill is, how lucky I was to have such loving in-laws who just want to be close to us, and I should be more grateful. I told her I'm grateful for my son, my husband, and for everything we have. Told her I needed to go and ended the call before I said anything more to her, while she's still down in the dumps about the visa. I texted my husband this immediately before she gets to him. He's probably not going to be happy since he wanted us to let her be comforted by the UAE idea, but idn't say anymore. She needs to be told that we're never moving. I'm only going to call her on important occasions now, like I'd, and to send pictures if my husband asks, but that's it. A sincere thank you to the visa officer who made the decision. Sorry for the repeated updates. Ingel, this may have been meant to be a rant too. She's just so rude. Now all the time. It's so unreasonable. Also, based on a comment that my son may automatically be a Pakistani citizen after all, I called the Pakistani consulate. And when I explained the situation, the lady there said my son is technically a Pakistani citizen. Then I asked about myself because it hit me that my situation when I was born would have been similar to my son's, she said. I was a citizen too. I'm going to be looking into how this could affect our visit before we attend my BIL's wedding in December in Pakistan. Thanks again. I won't be posting anymore. This issue is done as far as I'm concerned. Update 1. Thank you for the feedback in the original post. Yesterday, when he came back from work, I tried to start the conversation again. He had been giving me the cold shoulder since all this started. I told him I'm his wife of 2 years and the mother of his child. This isn't how we're going to communicate. We started talking after that. I held my ground that his mum staying with us for so long wasn't tenable. If she wanted to visit Canada for longer than a couple of months, she would have to live in her own apartment, learn how to drive, or use public transport. She's used to being driven by a hired driver in Pakistan, and a whole bunch of other changes that she'd need to get used to. That I don't see myself changing my mind on this. So he needs to be honest with her and himself, and not go down the "we'll keep our options open" route. He said that he knows her living with us for an extended stay would require some changes on our part, but he was asking me to do this as a favor to him, that I claim to love him and yet can't do him this favor for his mum. I actually started sobbing when he said this. It was so hurtful that he was using this as a litmus test for our love. I said her being around for years would ruin our parenthood with our first child, that I want us to raise our child the way we see fit, not his mum. Also, all the intimate moments we have, our sex life, everything would suffer. My parents are Pakistani too. I know this will happen. He again asked me to just not shut the door completely, that he'll tell his mum the stay can only be for a month or so, and I can let him know if I think the change wasn't too much. And we landed on a compromise that for now, they'll do the regular visa app that only allows a max stay of 6 months. If I change my mind, he'll do the super visa. He then had a long call with his mum, which his older sister also joined. It actually lasted an hour and a half. He was in the backyard for the call and came back in to grab a chair. It was that long. Also, from what I could see, he was mostly listening for that convo. When he came back in, he told me to just not answer any calls or messages from his mum or sister. Meanwhile, I've received like 4 missed calls and 20 messages from them, mostly Islamic quotes about the rights of parents. I've told them that I can't talk right now since I'm busy with my son right now. I asked him how it went. He said as well as he expected, but he's not giving me the cold shoulder anymore. I do feel guilty because, like I said, I was actually looking forward to host her for a month, and I think this whole thing may have caused irreparable damage, not just to my relationship with my mill and Sil, but my husband's relationship with his mom and sister. I've told my mill I'll call her back in a couple of hours, once my husband's back. I'm dreading that conversation, but I know what my boundaries are. Thank you for the feedback. It helped. Edit. Also, one thing that I had to clarify a few times last post. A lot of people were like, this is what happens when you marry outside your culture. My husband and I are both of Pakistani descent, just that I was born here, while he immigrated here as a student. But he's been here for like a decade now too. Update 2. I spoke to my mill. Since her missed calls and text messages were asking me to call her, I figured I should be the one to call, not my husband. But I put my phone on speaker, so that my husband, who was lying on the couch, could also hear it. She said that my husband had told her he thought it'd be best if she restricts her trip to 1 month, since it was her first time in Canada, and because we were really busy with my son. She said that ever since my husband had gone to Canada as an 18-year-old, he'd always wanted her to visit for a long duration, and now all of a sudden he was asking her to restrict it when she wanted to help with her grandson, and said she knew I must be the reason why. I said it was a joint decision because of the circumstances, but she wouldn't hear of it. She said if her visiting for more than a month was so outrageous to us, then that's fine. She'll limit her stay, but I should know that in Pakistan in-laws live in the same house with the married couple, like my Sil does, and that she had thought I was in touch with my Islamic and Pakistani roots when I was getting married because that's what my husband had told her. But she was disappointed at how whitewashed I was. At this point, my husband asked me to give him the phone, but not before I told her that I was totally comfortable with how in tune with my heritage I was, and that, apparently so was her son, told her my husband had just come and handed him the phone. My husband went in the yard to talk, but I was so angry I decided to eavesdrop. He was talking to both my mill and Phil. He told them that it's not like he fled to Canada in the middle of the night as a student. They both had happily seen him off at the airport, and that when he had introduced me, he hadn't kept the fact that I was born and raised in Canada a secret either, that they can't expect to treat us like a couple in Pakistan. Then he listened a whole lot for like half an hour. I gave him a chair again and kept telling them that it's different now. They ended the call with him saying that we were both really looking forward to her visit, that we'll make sure it's a great 30 or so days with us and her grandson. He apologized to me on behalf of his mom and asked me to please let her lecture go and still be on board with the 1-month plan. I'm looking forward to it much less than I was, but I said fine. Update 3. After I had updated here last time, I was fully committed to graciously hosting my mill for 31 days, and not a day more. Since then, we had one unpleasant exchange on IDE a few days ago. I had posted about it on the subreddit regarding mill issues. This is what I had posted. My mill is going to be visiting near the end of April for a month. For context, we live in Canada. I was born here. My husband immigrated a decade ago. We got married 2 years ago, and our son is 10 months old. My in-laws live in Pakistan. My parents moved to Canada from Pakistan a year before I was born. My mill had initially planned on staying longer, but I had put my foot down and told my husband I couldn't deal with someone living with us for longer than a month, so she's had to cut short her plan and didn't take that wheel. I had actually posted about this somewhere else previously and had been PMED to take a look at this subreddit. I had made my peace with the 1-month stay and was fully planning on being cordial during it. Yesterday we had celebrated Eid at my parents' house. It was our first Eid with our son, and we were all so happy about it, getting to dress him in his cute little traditional kurta shalwar. I sent her some pictures of the event because she always asks us to send her pictures. Her reply was not what I expected. She started lamenting how far we were from them, and said that this is the problem with marrying someone not from Pakistan, that the parents suffer as a result. How unfair it is that my parents get her son and grandson to themselves. My heart literally shrank reading it. I knew she missed us, but to hear her say she essentially regrets our marriage was so hurtful. I just left her on read. I showed it to my husband. He sincerely apologized and thanked me for not responding to her. I have to host her for a month. How am I supposed to do that now? I would have normally asked my mum for advice on this stuff since she's more well acquainted with dealing with someone from Pakistan, but I actually feel she'll lose it at my mill when she visits if I share this with her. I just wanted some advice and partly wanted to vent. I'm trying to compartmentalize this because we're still celebrating Eid today with some friends, and I don't want this to bring me down. Any advice would be appreciated. Today's update today, My husband told me that her visa application had been rejected. They're applying for the notes regarding the decision, but according to him, it's futile, that it was always a 50-50 shot, that the most common reason for rejections is having insufficient ties back home, which makes them think the applicant won't go back, that he had thought having my Phil remain there would have fixed that, but apparently not. I'm in glee. It's like a huge weight has been lifted off me. I'm trying to act disappointed, but I was dreading her visit. He said she was inconsolable when he spoke to her earlier, that she had asked him to look into us moving to Pakistan. I love Pakistan, but never going to happen. When he shut that down, she gave him his uncle's number who lives in the UAE for job leads, so we could move to the UAE again. I'm sure it's a great place, but no, so that we could be a 2-hour flight away from them and have our family grow in an Islamic environment. He told her it's going to be difficult, but agreed to talk to him. I was a bit angry about this. I told him there's no way we're moving to the UAE. He said, "Of course we're not. We've built a life here. He has a great career here." But he didn't want to completely shut down his mom. I personally disagree with that. I think she deserves the truth, but whatever. I'm going to talk to her, to commiserate tomorrow. It's too late in Pakistan now. Because again, while I was no longer looking forward to hosting her, I was fully committed to doing so. Unfortunately, this does mean that most of our family vacations will have to be in Pakistan now, since they can't visit us here. We already need to go there in December, because they're planning to have his brother's wedding done then. Thank you to everyone who gave me advice here. It sucks that we have all this bad blood now for no reason. Like, I'm sure she hates me now. And while I've tried very hard to forget what she said about my upbringing and heritage, I can't. And I see her in a whole new light now. I'm going to be comforting to my husband about this, but maybe it was for the best. Edit. Our phone call went well for like the first 2 minutes when I expressed how sorry I was that she wouldn't be able to come, and the visa officers should have been more considerate. It went downhill soon after. She then said that this probably means she'll never be able to visit Canada, and a few weeks a year isn't enough, that my parents have gotten to be close to us for 2 years. Now it should be their right. So did my husband call his uncle, since he wasn't answering her texts. I said I don't know, but it won't work anyway. We live in Canada. We've started a family here. We have a support system here. My husband has a great career here. But we will definitely have as many vacations together as possible, so she could spend time with my son. She then went on about how my Sil, her daughter, has been living with her in-laws since she got married, how bad her mill is, how lucky I was to have such loving in-laws who just want to be close to us, and I should be more grateful. I told her I'm grateful for my son, my husband, and for everything we have. Told her. I needed to go and ended the call before I said anything more to her, while she's still down in the dumps about the visa. I texted my husband this immediately before she gets to him. He's probably not going to be happy since he wanted us to let her be comforted by the UAE idea, but it's anymore. I'm only going to call her on important occasions now like I'd, and to send pictures if my husband asks, but that's it. A sincere thank you to the visa officer who made the decision. Story 2. I left my husband because I won't raise his orphan siblings. Am I the villain? I 24F met my husband 24M when we were both 18 freshmen at university, young and starry-eyed. We clicked, instantly shared late-night study sessions, cheap ramen dates, the whole college romance vibe. We got married at 21, right after graduation, because it just felt right. I run a bridal store now, small but thriving, and he's got a hardware shop that's doing decently. We're not rolling in cash, but we've been building a life together, saving for a house, dreaming of fancy trips abroad, and planning kids around 27. 5 years of just us first, you know? That was the deal. Then 2 months ago, everything imploded. His parents died in a car accident, tragic, sudden, awful. They'd struggled with fertility for years after having him, so his siblings 12F and 10M came late in their lives. Now they're gone, leaving behind a house but almost no money because of some terrible investments. My husband, being the stand-up guy he is, took his siblings in without a second thought. I respect that, I do. He's their only family left, and he's got a heart of gold. But here's the thing, I didn't sign up for this. I'm 24. I'm not ready to be a mom or a pseudo-mom to a 12-year-old girl who's already moody and hormonal and a 10-year-old boy who's clingy and cries every night for his parents. Our budget, completely wrecked. Feeding 2 extra mouths, school supplies, clothes, therapy because they're obviously traumatized. It's all on us now. We both earn well, sure, but my dreams of weekend getaways, designer bags, and a high-end lifestyle, gone. Poof. Replaced by laundry, parent-teacher meetings, and figuring out how to stretch our savings to cover their college someday. I tried, I swear I did. For 2 months, I played the supportive wife. I cooked dinners, helped with homework, listened to my husband vent about how overwhelmed he is. But every day, I felt this pit in my stomach growing. This isn't what I wanted. We had a plan, 5 years of freedom, then kids of our own. Not this instant family chaos at 24. I started resenting him, resenting the kids, resenting myself for feeling this way. So, I told him I want a divorce. I moved out last week into a friend's spare room, and now I'm just lost. He's begging me to come back, saying we can figure it out together. He's heartbroken, and I hate that I'm doing this to him. I still love him, God. I do, but I'm selfish. Okay? I admit it. I want to travel the world, sip cocktails on a beach, build my business without worrying about packing school lunches. I'm not ready for this level of responsibility. I'm not a monster, though I'd never ask him to ditch his siblings. I know he can't send them to relatives, there aren't any close ones, willing or social services. That's not who he is, and I'd hate myself if I even suggested it. But I also can't force myself to stay in a life that's suffocating me. We don't have much in assets, just some savings for that house. We'll probably never buy now. I told him I'll make the divorce easy. No fighting over what little we have. My parents and siblings are furious, saying, marriage is about hardships. You don't just walk away. They think I'm immature, that I should suck it up and give it a chance. But if I stay, I know I'll turn bitter. I'll blame him, and eventually I'll hate him. I don't want that for us. Edit. Okay, I see a lot of you bringing up my vows in sickness and in health, all that. Let me be clear, my commitment was to him. If he'd been in an accident, lost his legs, whatever, I'd be there, no question. I'd bathe him, feed him, push his wheelchair because I promised him forever. But his siblings? I didn't vow to raise them. I didn't sign up to be their mom at 24. Stop equating the two. It's not the same. Edit 2. Wow. The YTA comments are brutal, but I get it. I'm not perfect. Also, some context. I'm from a third world country where women are expected to take on everything: kids, house, emotional labor, while men just don't. My husband's great, but he's not exactly splitting the load 50-50 here. He's grieving, running his shop, and I'm left picking up most of the slack with the kids. I'm not mature enough for this. I'm depressed, I'm exhausted, and I just want out. Later. I know I'm selfish, but am I the asshole for choosing myself? What happens next? Expanded drama. The post blows up on Reddit, thousands of upvotes, hundreds of comments. The ATA crowd is split down the middle. Some call her a heartless jerk for abandoning her husband in his darkest hour. YTA. Those kids lost their parents, and now you're bailing too? Marriage isn't a vacation package you cancel when it gets tough. Others defend her. NTA. You're 24, not 40. You didn't choose this, and it's okay to want your own life. Forcing yourself to stay will just breed resentment. Meanwhile, her husband finds the post because of course he does. Reddit's not subtle. He texts her, devastated. I didn't know you felt this trapped. I thought we were a team. Cue her crying in her friend's guest room, second-guessing everything. Her inbox floods with messages, some supportive, some vicious. One commenter digs into her high-end lifestyle line, accusing her of valuing handbags over human lives. Another suggests couples therapy, which she considers but dismisses, because what's there to fix? I don't want this life. Her parents escalate, showing up at her friend's place with a guilt trip lecture. You're throwing away a good man. Those kids need a mother figure. Her sister posts a shady Instagram story about family loyalty, clearly aimed at her. The siblings 12F and 10M start asking her husband why she's gone 12F snaps. She never liked us anyway, while 10M just cries more. Husband's hardware shop takes a hit because he's too stressed to focus, and her bridal store starts getting weird. Yelp reviews coincidence? Maybe not. She adds a final edit. I'm not going back. I've booked a solo trip to Bali next month with my savings. I need to breathe. Judge me all you want. I already hate myself enough. Cue Reddit chaos intensifying. Is she a villain fleeing responsibility, or a young woman refusing to drown in a life she didn't choose? The drama's just getting started.